What's up, people? In this video, I think this is a mystery video. I might have actually done this one already. I'm not sure, but no, I haven't. Fat cells. Haven't done this one. What is this? Can you get rid of fat cells? Weird science. Oh, Thomas DeLauer. Yeah, I think you can, actually. I think like all of these a lot of these procedures, I think it's cool sculpting is one of them, and like there's all these basically I think the term is like liposuction, even though liposuction is kind of like an old term where they like literally suck the fat out. I forget what they're called now, but all these procedures that like essentially destroy fat cells, basically what happens is that once fat cells are destroyed, they like don't grow back or something like that. So like let's say you get, you like cool sculpting, for example, is where they freeze your fat cells and the freezing process kills them. So basically what happens, like let's say you do that procedure, you won't have that fat there anymore. And basically what will happen, like let's say you eat like shit and you gain weight, you'll gain weight, but the fat will just go other places, right? And what I've heard, because it sounds kind of tempting to do that, right? We've all got problem areas that fucking like, are you kidding me? Like go like let a doctor like fucking put some cold shit on you and you're all of a sudden you're skinnier. Like that sounds fucking awesome. The reason I haven't like looked into this more deeply is because from what I heard, it's possible that if you gain weight again, the fat will go to like your internal organs or something, which I'm not crazy about. So anyway, fat cells, Thomas DeLauer. I did a video on him. I hate keto. The guy's like obviously on something, giving this advice about keto. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, interesting video. I think let's give it a...
Good news. You can't gain fat cells. Bad news. You can't lose fat cells. Now, I know that sounds really disappointing, but there's a silver lining to all this that I'm going to get to when I explain the science in this video. The simple point of this video is to describe exactly what's happening when we gain weight or when we lose weight, and why some people that are typically overweight, really do have a tougher time burning fat and have a tougher time keeping it off. So I'm going to give you solutions on how you can keep that weight off, utilizing some specific advantages that come to you by being a little bit overweight. And I know we have to come to terms with reality. If we're overweight, let's face it, we're overweight. I was 280 pounds before. I had to come to terms with the fact that I was overweight. So if you have some fat on you, it's all good. We just use it to our advantage to get leaner and get healthier. You are tuned into the internet's leading performance, nutrition, and fat loss channel. New videos on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time. I want to make sure you...
This guy's so commercial now, huh? Does cool sculpting destroy fat cells? Because I'm pretty sure you can destroy fat cells. Cool sculpting destroys fat cells. Yeah, so this actually does destroy fat cells. I'm not sure why he says that. Blah, blah, blah. Fat reduction, cryolipolysis. Yeah, breaks down fat cells. Yeah, interesting. So I guess TDL is not, reduce the number of fat cells. I'm not sure why he is saying you can't reduce them. When was this video made? Yeah, this is a recent video. So yeah, Thomas DeLauer might want to hop on Google there. But then again, like this comes into the whole like, and homie's obviously crushing it, but if he was like, well, actually you can destroy fat cells with cool sculpting, you don't need to do keto, fuck all that keto shit, just go to the doctor and do cool sculpting, for example, right? Yeah, it hurt his business model.
You go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, and then go ahead and hit that bell icon so you can turn on notifications so you know whenever I go live. If you haven't already, I want to make sure you check out Thrive Market down in the description below. So Thrive Market makes it so that you can get your groceries delivered right to your doorstep. Never have to leave your house if you really didn't want to. You can go online, get your groceries in the same way that you would get them in the grocery store, except they're going to get delivered right to your doorstep and ends up being cheaper than the grocery store. So all of my favorite fasting options, my keto options, my hormone optimization options, all these things are all there. So I put together these specific Thrive boxes. So go ahead and check them out in the description after you watch this video. But now let's go ahead and let's get right to the fun stuff. So first off, it kind of goes without saying that fat cells aren't bad. Okay, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm all about healthy fats and all about getting your body to operate on fats as a fuel source, but fats really aren't bad. We have to stop that demonization. Okay? The problem is when they start to accumulate too much, they form what is called adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is our body fat, right? Now, a little bit of adipose tissue is fine. We all have it. It's going to absorb shock. It's going to help protect our organs, give us some insulation, yada, yada. But when it starts to accumulate too much, it's really the side effects of the excess fat that becomes the problem. So we're talking about the fact that all the excess fat that we have ends up triggering hormonal changes within our bodies. It makes us different. It causes us to have a lot of estrogen floating around. Too much estrogen ends up causing us to store more body fat, which becomes unsightly, and et cetera, et cetera. But additionally, it takes up like all of our fat-soluble vitamins. So like the A, D, E, and K, like the good vitamins we need to burn more fat, end up getting locked up in quarantine in our existing fat. So they get stuck there. And then lastly, any toxins that we consume or anything like that, they end up getting stored in our fat because it's a safer place for them to go than hitting our liver. So we end up having them stored in our fat. So long story short, our fat ends up a cesspool for a bunch of just wasted vitamins and a bunch of toxins. So yeah, we don't want it. But the fact is it's still okay stuff. So now let's get to what we need to talk about. You are essentially born with a specific number of fat cells. That's kind of the bummer. Now there's a study that was published in the journal Nature that found that we really have a set number of fat cells from the time we're born to 20 or 25. So what I mean by that is we can't really dictate how many fat cells we have. We're gonna have anywhere from 10 billion to 30 billion. Generally speaking, people that are overweight or obese have more fat cells than people that are not overweight. And it's simple. If you have more fat cells, it's more opportunity for.
All right, I remember the person who sent me this video. I think they were like, "Can you do Thomas DeLauer's video where he talks about like different body types and how like some people are just gonna be fatter or something?" Like, okay, like and I know why you're asking this question and why you are like telling me to do this video, because you're looking for an excuse as to why you're fat, like straight up. Like I don't need to see you or what you look like. I know you're already fat, right? And you're like looking for an excuse, like, well, this guy on the internet said that like obese people have more fat cells, and I'm fat, so it's not my fault. I shouldn't blame myself. I'm fucking like go eat Oreos. Like, what's your diet like? You know what I mean? Like, are you eating clean food? Like, really? Like, why don't you take a good look and like, are you doing OMAD? You know, like, are you working out a lot? Now, however, certain people will start off with a genetic predisposition for more muscle, less muscle, you know, maybe a little bit more fat here and there, but nobody's fucking born obese. Like, sorry, like that's fucking work. Okay. That's like years of like, you know, fucking mistreating your body. That's that. And in terms of like, can you get rid of fat cells? No, because there was a study once. Like, what about autophagy, right? Like, what about fasting? What if I fucking starve you for a week and I don't let you eat? You're gonna have all your fat cells there? No, obviously not. You're gonna fucking get rid of that shit. So like, let's end the video right there with that point. You know what I mean? So like, why this is, I understand he's a brand at this point. He's trying to make interesting videos for people who may or may not actually want to change, but like always, the simple solution is always the best one. Are you fat? So fast. Like, honestly, this video makes me want to fast. Like, it makes me actually want to fast. We should probably do that.
For fat to get stored. So what happens is fat cells don't accumulate, they enlarge. So we have existing fat cells and they just get bigger if we gain weight. So someone that has more fat cells clearly has more opportunity to gain weight. Envision a freeway with a bunch of fats driving down the freeway. Okay, someone that doesn't have a whole lot of fat cells only has an exit every 5 miles or so for fat to get off and do something. Someone that has a bunch of fat cells has an exit every quarter mile for fat to get off and store. So people that have more fat cells naturally will gain weight easier. It is more difficult for them, okay? Another thing that's interesting is when these fat cells die, they get repleted, because it's set at a genetic level. So if 1,000 fat cells were to die right now, 1,000 new fat cells would come in. So it's not like we can ever get rid of them. And I know that's depressing to think about, but there are some really cool things that we'll talk about that you can do. And again, advantages if you have more fat cells. But briefly, let's talk.
So you can't lose fat cells. Oh, but actually you do lose fat cells and they just are like repleted. What does that mean? New ones are created? Is that what he means by that? So like, which one is it, dog? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for any like fat people watching this who are like, well, I'm fat, so therefore it's because it's easier for me to be fat. And that's why. It's not all the shitty food that I eat and the fact that like I haven't seen the inside of a gym in years. It's because it's my genetics, you know, like it's a famous like meme or funny meme that I've seen where some like really fat woman and she's like opening the fridge and pointing at like all this Coke and pizza and all this stuff. And the caption is like, this is where I keep my genetics, right? So I just think that's funny. Like, is that where you keep your genetics, in the fridge? Yeah, you're like eating them. So, you know, ladies, gentlemen, like, step it up a little bit. Why don't you try not eating? Why don't you try working out? Like, you're worried. Like, at the end of the day, does it matter if you have more fat cells than somebody else? No, because the solution is still the same, right? The solution is still eat healthy food and work out. That's it. Done. Period. And fast occasionally if you want.
Talk about weight regain for a second. If you're someone that's overweight, you've probably noticed that when you lose weight, it's easier to regain weight. Now, it's hard. You can't compare yourself to others because you don't know how others feel, but science does show that people that are overweight or have more fat cells tend to regain weight a lot easier. And here's an interesting analogy to make it all make sense. Okay, when you have a large number of fat cells, they produce something known as leptin when they're totally full. So when a fat cell is full, it produces leptin. And this leptin tells the brain, hey, there's enough fat, we can go ahead and rev up the metabolism, okay? So when our fat cells are nice and full and happy, they're not telling the brain, eat more, okay? But what happens is as we lose weight, that leptin decreases, and that signals the brain to want us to store fat. Now, this is epicentered at the individual cell level. So what that means is that, again, I'm gonna use a very simple number here to make sense of it. If we have 10 fat cells, and these fat cells shrink in size because we lost weight, well, when those 10 fat cells get hungry, we're gonna have 10 fat cells yelling at the brain to feed them. So it's like having 10 hungry children just barking orders, saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Now take that same situation, but with someone that only has 5 fat cells. They're still going to get hungry, and their fat cells are still going to demand that they get fed, but you only have 5 of them barking the orders. You only have 5 of them begging. It's like having 10 children versus 5 children. It costs more to feed 10 children. It's going to be more difficult. So when people try to compare apples to apples and take a naturally slim person or a naturally low fat cell person compared to a naturally high fat cell person and try to say that it's equally difficult, it's not the case. It truly can be more.
You're right. He's right. It's not your fault that you're fat. It's genetics. It's totally not your fault. It has nothing to do with any of the choices that you made over your lifetime. Yeah, for sure. Listen to this guy, for sure. In fact, why don't you go to Thrive Market? Why don't you buy some of his like pre-made boxes? Like that will probably help you lose fat with keto. Yeah, keto, that's legit too. Also, like, don't listen to me, or God forbid, like try anything on your own, or like maybe possibly take responsibility for any of the choices you've made over your life. Nah, fuck that shit. Like, this guy is clearly saying, with his like 10 children versus 5 children example, it's harder. Do you know what that means? Harder? That means it's going to take more effort and discipline to do things. Like, oh my God, in today's world with the internet, Amazon.com, like why should anything be hard? Why? It's not fair. When is science going to like invent something, that'll kind of take this pressure off of you? Because you never had a chance anyway, right? So like, why even try? Okay. What's that called? Not pandering. Patronizing. Over. Done. This is also why fat people lose weight faster. Okay? He failed to mention that. But if you have all these extra fat cells, and they do, by the way, if you have all these extra fat cells and your body's like sending this message like, I'm hungry, eat, and you have a lot of fat, your body's going to get rid of a lot of fat a lot faster. Okay? Because that hunger is going to make your body burn a lot more fat. Whereas if you're thin, you're going to lose the weight slower. Right? Anybody fucking look at any of these like super fat people who like go on a fast, like they drop tons of weight. Like a pound a day is not unheard of on average, right? But yeah, like, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is like, honestly, and look, to be real, like, I love people who watch my videos and comment and like, thank you for telling me to watch this video. But at the end of the day, I don't care if anybody ever loses weight. And in fact, it's really in my best interest that people are as fat as possible, most of them, because it makes me look much better. It makes me actually look like I've like achieved something, when in reality, it's not hard at all. Like, do the same 3 things that I mentioned in every fucking video. I'm not going to say them anymore. But like, that's what it comes down to. It's not hard. It's easy. It's actually the easier choice to do it that way than to be fat and sick and look bad. You know what I mean? But if you're looking for reasons why something is not your fault, if you watch a video, if you like actively seek out videos like this, that like essentially, what's the message of this video? Is basically like, it might not be your fault if you have a problem. I don't know. I kind of want to see where he's going with this. Like, I'm sure it'll like have something to do with like the link in his description. But essentially, what's the message so far as I've seen, is like, it might not be your fault. Your problem could be some like related to something that you have no control over, and like, you shouldn't feel bad about your choices that you made that have like possibly contributed to your problem. So like, is that a good message to send people? I don't think so. I really don't. But the people who will be receptive to that message are people who, in my opinion, they're not going to make it in the first place anyway, right? Anybody who like believes that shit, you're just not going to make it. You're looking for the easy way out. You're looking for somebody to tell you it's not your fault. Which, okay, fine. If your fucking mom dies in a car accident, God forbid, something like that, that's not your fault, right? You have no control over that. I guess you could make maybe the argument like, you told her to go to the store and she went to the store and she died. Okay, fine. I guess like you could say that maybe somehow. But if whatever, just like living your lives and fucking, I don't know, fucking like whatever, some crazy shit happens and she dies, it's not your fault. Why are you gonna blame yourself? You know what I mean? But something like this, you're fucking fat. How are you not gonna take blame for that? Like, why? I'm almost like, I'm kind of in awe that somebody would ask me to watch this video and be like, is this true? Like, here's what it comes down to. Even if this is true, why are you letting it stop you? Like, why are you going to let this like stop you from trying? I don't know.
Or difficult for people that are overweight. And there's 3 sides to every story, yours, mine, and the truth, but this is what the science is seeming to show. So let's talk about the silver lining, because this has kind of been depressing, right? Like, we're saying, okay, well, what do I do? I just have more. I mean, on one hand, it's nice to be acknowledged to know that it is more difficult for you, but okay, what's a practical application for this? The main thing we need to focus on is something I talk about a lot, and that's lean body mass. Okay, lean body mass is our muscle tissue. Our muscle tissue is the biggest driving force of our metabolism, and I will go on record and say, at least as my opinion, that the positive effects of having muscle and the metabolic effect of lean body mass far outweigh the negative effects of having a larger amount of fat cells. Because the metabolism is super powerful, and if you have more lean body mass, it's going to be more powerful than having billions of fat cells. It just is. So what we need to do is we need to make sure, if we are people that have a lot of fat cells, that we increase our lean body mass levels. Now here's where things get really cool. If you are someone that has a lot of fat cells, or you are overweight right now, it will be easier for you to build muscle. Studies are now showing that the energy that can be released from a fat cell can provide you with the energy needed to build muscle. That does not mean that fat turns into muscle. Okay, fat can't turn into muscle. That's not how it works. But fat can provide the fuel needed to support the metabolic drivers of building muscle. So studies show that generally when you look at an overweight person versus a slim person and you have them start out on a weight training regimen, the overweight person is going to build significantly more muscle, which means that they're going to be able to yield a higher rate of metabolism faster than a slim person. So you have a unique advantage, but you are the kind of person that needs to get in the gym a little bit more and do some work.
Yeah, and you know what else you are? If you're a fucking fat person, you're a lazy fucking piece of shit. No offense. Sorry, I'm like going crazy. But honestly, like this is news to somebody. Like, oh my God, having muscle means you'll have a faster metabolism. Like, are there people in 2019 who somehow don't know that? Like, is this your first time on the internet? Like, shocker, right? But like, here's what's funny about this is like, if somebody's watching this video, again, I don't want to jump down the throat of whoever recommended that I watch this. As far as I recall, like I think you watch a lot of my videos and you comment on them. So like, I'm sorry I'm taking this out on you. But the people who are going to watch this and with whom this message will resonate are people who are looking to excuse their poor life choices as saying, well, it's just my body type. I have more fat cells, so it's harder for me. Implying that that's the reason for their failure, and further implying that that's why it's pointless for them to try because it's harder, right? So like, are these people, because they watched your video, Thomas DeLauer, gonna like get in the gym and start building lean body mass? Probably not, because they're fucking lazy anyway and don't do shit, which is why they're fat in the first place. And they're further like looking for excuses as to why it's not their fault. So does this like realization somehow going to like make them get in the gym and work out? I doubt it. Maybe. If it does, like, good for you. But like, you should be doing that. Like, clearly, like, obviously you should be working out. Like, is this, again, like I said, is this news to you? Somehow, some of you actually like didn't know this.
Weight training and focus on building some muscle. Okay, I know this because I was 280 pounds before. Okay, going into the gym, keeping muscle on me is my metabolic driver that overpowers the fact that I might have more fat cells, right? Okay, so that's what we need to pay attention to. Studies have also shown that all it takes is 3 to 6 weeks of weight training before you are starting to stimulate that lean body mass response. Very important step. Now, I don't want to sound like any kind of zealot here when I talk about this, but this next thing is important. If you are not following some kind of low carb strategy, there is a huge benefit to it when it comes down to maintaining your lean body mass. The Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism published a study, took a look at 20 individuals, okay, and had these 20 individuals go on a weight loss regimen where they lost 45 pounds in the course of 4 weeks. That's aggressive weight loss. Normally, what would happen if you lose weight that fast is you'd lose a bunch of muscle. You would lose fat and muscle. What does losing muscle do? Losing muscle slows your metabolism down because now you've hurt the ratio of fat to muscle. What's interesting is this study found that when they did the ketogenic diet, they could lose 45 pounds and not change their metabolism because their lean body mass stayed high. So their metabolism didn't change. Their resting metabolic rate didn't change if they lost that weight via the ketogenic diet. Okay, therefore making it so that your metabolism stays higher. So if you are overweight, you will get more effect by losing weight with the keto diet long term because you're gonna have less likelihood of rebounding because your metabolism is gonna stay high. You'll just have more flexibility. So again, this video wasn't about being depressing. It was about giving you a tool and hopefully motivating you and lighting a little bit of a fire that if you are one of these people that has more fat cells naturally, genetically, get in the gym, get the weight training going. Probably even more important than cardio at this point in time. So as always, make sure you're keeping it locked in here on my channel.
Like, I guess I wonder, because this is like obvious to me, right? Like, obviously if you're fat, you need to fucking lift weights, right? Like, you're fat, you need to lift weights, like, period. You're a fucking anorexic skeleton, like, you need to lift weights. Like, that's why when I watch stuff like this, like, I repeat myself in every video because the prescription is the same for everyone. You're fucking anorexic, you're a fat blob, you're old, you're young. Everybody, it's the same. It's fucking lift weights or build muscle or do some kind of like anaerobic plus aerobic activity together. Boxing, for example, right? Do something like that. That's going to build muscle. Okay, that's number one. Number two, eat a lot of meat, which I guess is keto technically, but I don't think explicitly you need to do keto. I just don't think it's necessary. I think it's enough to just say eat a lot of meat and have a little carbs, because if you're training hard, I think carbs will help you in the gym. We differ on that. Homie obviously looks good. I don't really know. I've never been able to do keto successfully. I guess there are people that are. And what's the third one? Work out, eat healthy foods, and eat once a day, right? Like, okay, there's a million ways to skin a cat, but I would rather not count my calories, not count my macros, not fucking eat 5 times a day, and eat once a day and pick one food item to eat during that meal, or 2 items, fucking meat and a little rice, and have that be like the entire amount of thought process that I devote towards my like health and fitness, part of my life, That's just me. So basically, like, bottom line, people who are fucking out there in internet land, like, again, like I said, the prescription is the same for everybody. You have more fat cells, you have less fat cells. Like, it's literally actually the same for everyone. Eat once a day. What was it? Stuff yourself on meat and fucking train as hard as you can. That's it. That's it, everybody. Like, there no more videos. You don't need to watch anymore, right? Like, get out there, do one of those 3 things. You know what I mean? Stop like focusing on all these little details that don't matter. Let's say you have more fat cells. Okay, prescription's still the same. Eat once a day, eat a fucking bunch of meat, and go work out in the gym. Let's say you're a fucking anorexic skeleton girl. Okay, maybe you should eat more than once a day if you're a skeleton, because like you need more nutrients. But like, even if you only eat once a day, eat a bunch of meat, fucking get to the gym, go work out. Like, you're a fucking, I don't know, young guy, you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to, like, let's say you're skinny fat, right? Guess what? Eat once a day, fucking go work out in the gym, and eat meat, right? Those are the 3 different things, right? Yeah, anyway, thank you for telling me to watch this video. If you have any more, let me know. Even though I yelled at you, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But like, why don't you like take just do what I say. Like, stop looking for answers as to why it's not your fault. Just assume, here's what it comes down to. Just assume that everything in your life is your fault. Everything, okay? It's all your fault. It's not your genetics, it's not your race, it's not your fucking height, it's not how you look. It's you, 100% you. You are at the cause end of the equation. You're not at the effect. Shit doesn't happen to you. And even the shit that happens to you, even that's your fault, okay? Think of it like that. Your life will improve, I promise you. Because you'll feel like you have more control over your life, over your destiny. If you don't believe that shit, then like I said, you're not going to make it. If you believe that even the shit that is technically not your fault is your fault, then you have a chance to make it. It doesn't mean you're going to make it, but you have a chance if you believe, Final thing. Well, and I was just going to say, with fitness, it's easy to make it. It's not hard. Just do the fucking work. Get in the gym, go work out, eat fucking meat. That's it. That's actually it. That's all you got to do, Anyway, I'm done.